All right, three, two, one. What up, guys and girls? It is Bobby,
And it's Sean.
and we are back again.
We're back. We do this a lot, so you can't hold it as against us. If you're listening at this point, like it's coming. We'll get a couple good weeks in, and then you'll have to be ghosted for a while. It's like a really bad Instagram / Tinder account. Like you just gotta follow.
Yeah, we get busy and then we fall off the boat for a little bit, but we hop back on the boat. So we're back for this week's episode of the Cronus cast. As always, just brought to you guys by 10,000. Use the code Cronus at 15 for 50% off of any future orders from 10,000. They've got a lot of cool stuff on the side that we've been helping work on. So keep tuned for 10,000. They've been great with helping out not only the scholarship, but also helping out with contributions and helping keep us in business and helping support us. So really love the products. They're the only shorts that I wear when I work out, and pretty much the only clothes I wear when I work out nowadays. So hit them up and give them a shout out.
Yeah, I've got my inventory restocked because now that I'm getting back to weightlifting, I need workout clothes, and I'm not going to get away with the 3-inch Nike shorts that I was wearing for the last 6 months. So
Yeah, the tactical shorts are really nice. I'm a huge fan of the tactical shorts.
yeah, they're very comfortable, and I like their shirts too. Granted, now they fit me a little bit more loosely than I would like. The shirts are a very nice quality, and again, just better than Lulu. So
I agree.
why spend a ton of money on a shirt that has not changed in a decade?
And but yeah, use code Cronus15 for 15% off at 10,000. And always let us know if you have any questions about them. Sean, recently you finished quite a physical feat.
Finished is the key word. Not well, not super poorly, but the race was somewhat, I think, disappointing for my expectation going in.
And what did you do?
I did an Ironman triathlon, which I think it's probably only the second time it's ever been done in history. So you could say I'm a trendsetter. If you sign up for an Ironman after this, let me know and I will walk you off that ledge, or I will tell you what went well for me and what did not go well. But it was I guess it was fun. I really can't remember much of it now at this point. It's like Ranger School, but it happened and it's over. And I am going back to weightlifting. This is not going to be a reoccurring challenge that I take.
What was from what you remember, the hardest part from it?
Oh, 100% was the bike. I raced on Saturday. I guess what was that, the 18th? I got to Maryland 2 days prior before the race, and the 2 nights leading up to the race, I slept absolutely horribly. I was so nervous. I have had several bike issues in training on the half Ironman. I had a double pop on my back, which took up about 35 to 40 minutes, if you remember from a couple months ago on the podcast. And so I was terrified that I was going to have a bike issue. I swam 2.6 miles instead of 2.4 just because I wanted to avoid some of the traffic. And I'm a confident enough swimmer that I knew I was going to go at a pretty decent pace to still be competitive within my age group. And then the bike came and I had a flat tire after 20 miles, thought I fixed it. And now looking back at photos, the bike ended up taking an hour and a half longer than I anticipated and I trained for and practiced for. And I saw that my back tire was flat 20 miles, 30 miles after I fixed it. And then the next day was completely drained of any air when I was loading my bike up to come home. So that was the hardest part for sure.
And then the run was just cutting through the run.
Yeah, the run was, I felt definitely not fueled for it, which I think was because the bike had taken significantly longer than I'd ever trained for a ride, which maybe I could have avoided, but for a 6-month training plan, it went how it went. I ran the first 8 to 9 miles pretty comfortably and then started hitting like really bad walls where literally I had nothing. My tank was completely depleted and I would run a block, walk a block. And then by the time I hit mile 16 through 18, the slowest trudge slash run walk I've ever done in my life. And uh, yeah, I think my nutrition was a huge factor in me hurting on the bike, but like mentally, I was pretty disappointed with how I finished.
What's kind of one takeaway that you learned from this whole experience?
The mental resiliency piece, just keeping on. I don't know what the phrase is. Keeping on going,
Hmm.
finishing it out. I the race did not go well as soon as I got on the bike and started seeing that my pace was nowhere near where it needed to be, even though I was in the same gear, doing the same cadence. And so by the time I hit the halfway mark at 56 miles, 60 miles, I wanted to quit. I knew I was not going to finish in the time that I'd projected for myself, that I knew I was capable of doing the Ironman in. And it was more of I trained for 6 months for this, and this is my result. And during a break where I was filling up water and getting some nutrition, I ran across another, triathlete, and his simple question was, "Were you planning on winning the race?" I said, "No." He goes, "Well, then shut the fuck up and knock it out." It's like,
Hmm.
all right, that was good. That's what I needed to hear. So, I mean, just finishing it, just not being a baby, realizing like I'm still pretty fortunate that I got to do this kind of a race and train for it, and this is how it was. I can't change anything now.
Yeah, I mean, like as far as Ironmans go, like not many people have completed an Ironman. Let me see.
I mean, I
Completed
feel like a
Iron.
ton of people have when I'm at the race and there's a couple thousand people, but I guess in the grand total of triathletes, it's probably a very small percentage.
So I just Googled percentage or how many people complete Ironman. So there are 8 Ironman races in the United States, approximately 2,000 finishers. It's probably 16,000 per year. So you're in quite in rarefied air just for finishing an Ironman.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud to be done with the race. I'm glad that I finished it. I'm not going to be one of those people that goes, "Oh, I want a race to go sub 11 hours. That was my goal." I didn't come anywhere close to that. So I'm not going to get back on my bike or try to get different gear and knock it out again. I just wanted to pick a different kind of fitness challenge here and train up for it for about 6 months. But now I'm going to get back to getting jacked, because I can't let you be the only Cronus fit dude that looks shredded and stretches out the tees
Yeah. It's been I mean, it's been nice since we opened up the hospital gym, so I work out with some of the other residents.
with the patients.
Um, no, not patients. Very few patients be able to work out. Um, but yeah, I think it's great to expand your fitness domains and try something new. Tried doing the ultra marathon training, but that didn't quite pan out as much as I'd like. And now at this point, I'm just not feeling it. I do not want to like go back and run. I just don't have time to run as much anymore.
It's just it's like one of those, if you're not feeling it, especially for a super long workout day where you were going, into the 20s of miles, or into the 20s, I sound like a moron, 20 plus miles that you were doing, like, it's super boring if you're by yourself. Like, if you don't have a training partner, if your day is not off to a great start, if you're in a great relationship with someone else, knowing that you're going to spend half that day or most of the weekend away training for something that's kind of like individualistic, like, it can be mentally tough to want to go and execute that. And that's where I was getting by like month 5. I was like, I am so done with this
Mhm.
training. I'm tired of wasting my weekends. I'm tired of waking up and figuring out and looking back at photos too of like, oh, I remember that was a great day, but I was also thinking, where am I going to swim later because I'm on vacation?
Mhm.
So it's I think mentally more challenging than physically.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that, especially just like the fact that you're committing yourself to, because it's like super long endurance event. So in order to do well in it, you have to commit yourself to doing like 4 or 5, 6 hour workouts, which for the average person, like, that works Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, that's not a huge commitment. That you can fit in like 2 hour workouts on your working days, but like, for us with school and other like having work to do at home, it's not really very feasible or
No,
not sustainable.
no, and even thinking something stupid like a vacation weekend that you want to take, it's not being able to, at least in my experience, and I didn't go to an extreme with this, but I didn't want to have like 2 drinks on a Friday night. Couldn't really sleep in because in the summer you want to take advantage of cooler, weekend mornings. It just became like a very, this is controlling me for the next 6 months, and that's one of the things that really also kept me going on the race and just finishing it. It was a, you owe this to, for, in my case, to Alyssa. Like, I owe it to her to finish this race for wasting, in my opinion, a lot of weekends,
Hmm.
and not performing to that level that we had discussed. And so, like, finish this race at a minimum for you and for her, because you dedicated a lot of time to this, and to quit would be really uh kind of like an affront to that relationship, and not taking it seriously enough to finish it out.
Yeah, and not to mention, quitting would make you a quitter. So we don't believe in that.
Yeah, absolutely not. Do not believe in quitters whatsoever.
All right, sorry for the little break, guys, but we're back. We're talking about what we're talking about
Quitting
weekends,
quitting weekends, yeah, wasting time.
sacrificing. But I
Yeah,
think
and just don't be a quitter. Oh, one of the things too with like the mental check on it was, like, on the bike, one of the things that was really difficult, and this is like a very superficial thing to be concerned about, but like with endurance training, I think the difference between male athletes and female athletes shrinks considerably. Whereas, like, you look at the CrossFit Games or the Olympics, the men and women are pretty separated by both numbers and speed. But with endurance, the women and the men are almost equal in some
hmm
instances. And, like,
hmm
granted, at the top levels, there's a decent divide. But I was getting passed by a lot of different shaped people, by a lot of different aged people, and it was like, it was almost humiliating at some point, because you're like, I'm getting crushed by somebody that, like, probably can't even deadlift their body weight, or like looks grossly out of shape. Like, you would look at them and go, oh my God, they only eat fast food, but they blow by you. And it's like, all right, if something's wrong with my bike or I'm not feeling it, like, if they're doing it, I'm going to do it. Like, I am not, but it hurts when you train so long and you think you look really good, to lose to somebody that does not look at like that prototypical athlete.
Yeah, I mean, but like at the same time, though, I think it's in context. You're not really like you're not a triathlete by any means. You're just like wanting to try doing it, and the
Yeah.
goal wasn't really to like win or like the place really high. The goal was to really complete it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just something you got to keep reminding yourself. I think that counts for anything you do, like in the military. Like, you're going to find people are studs that don't look like studs. Ranger school in particular, like day zero, you're showing up and some people look completely ripped out of their mind, and then they can't do, over 40 push-ups. They can't run a 5 mile in sub 40. So don't judge a book by its cover. I think that was the ultimate message that the Ironman taught me. And don't suck and quit.
Yeah, it's like when I ran that my marathon. I think it was kind of a similar vibe that I had, but at the same time, like I just didn't really care because my goal going into the marathon was just like just to finish it. So I didn't really have any, any goals or any, preconception of how fast I should run a marathon. I was just gonna run one and see what happened.
You also didn't train for it. You were just like, this is gonna be my yearly run quota right here, one time.
Yeah, that was my couch to marathon in one day. It was still pretty brutal, but it wasn't like I don't know. It was pretty miserable actually because it was like snowing
Yeah, it
and
rained and snowed on you.
yeah, it was pretty terrible, pretty miserable. But I digress. Anyways, the point that I was trying to make is that like I think it depends on like expectation management. I think is a good way of thinking about it.
For sure.
Like you don't go to, I mean, some people might, but you typically like you don't go to Ranger school or like selection to be like the honor graduate or whatever. You go because you want to pass, right?
Yeah.
And like finish it. So, unless you're that type of person that has trained and wants to get that honor graduate, what have you. But if you set your expectations a certain level and expect your expectations and your goals a certain level, just by achieving it, I think that's like a huge deal. Like finishing a marathon, finishing a triathlon, like an Ironman triathlon, it's like a huge deal. I mean, very few people can do that.
Yeah, for sure. I think expectation management was something that if I were to do one again and I'm not, I would have a much better idea going in how it was going to feel, who I was going to compete with, if I wanted to compete with others other than just hitting a personal goal and finishing. Um, I think it's a maturity thing. You know, you to this point, you know, being relatively successful at almost every single kind of facet, not to humble brag, but like, you know, you're successful in life. Like you wouldn't be a failure to get to the point that you're at. And facing that kind of resistance was really the first time I think I've ever struggled with, like, I am not doing great at something, or I am not at least better than average here. And that was definitely like, I'm glad I went through it and I did it and I figured that out about myself. Like I've grown as a person. I'm so great. Pat me on the back. But that was probably a takeaway.
Yeah, like super humbling to not crush something for once.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I look good in a tri suit. I look good in a wetsuit on the swim. I'm good at the swim, but you know, I look good. Why didn't I perform goodly? Like that's something that, you know, I'd want to fix. I would have much rather performed as well as I looked. That should have really been the standard. That should be the standard.
Mm, yeah, but I was like just finishing it, and then you having the takeaways of not quitting, and then it's just like like learning something new about yourself that you're able to push through like the terrible zonks and still
Yep.
finish
Yeah, you hit the walls. I really only did it for a t-shirt. Um,
that you're wearing.
yeah, well, not this one. The one that was like Ironman Maryland, but this is really cool. Their gear is all sponsored by Lululemon. Like we're
Of
not there
course.
yet as Cronus Fit, but I mean, because we would never do it because we're 10,000. But this is a decent like long sleeve. If one were to have to purchase like a long sleeve, not for working out, because this would not be a workout material.
Are you gonna get the Iron Man tattoo now?
Fuck no. I saw so many of those tattoos. Okay, if you're listening to this and you've done an Ironman, maybe you're faster than me. I don't care. But what I know for sure is I have better tattoos than you. If you have an Ironman tattoo, that's like putting a Ranger tab on the back of your Toyota Tacoma, or what's the small truck?
Ford
Is it
Ranger,
no, the Ford
Tacoma,
Ranger? Yeah,
Tacoma.
is it
Yeah.
Tacoma? Yeah, you have a desert painted Toyota Tacoma with like the running headlights. You've got a Ranger tab back there. You probably have your infantry blue cord hanging down. That's the type of person that gets the Iron Man tattoo. Not only is the M, this thing, like really ugly on calves. Most people don't have good looking calves.
Hmm.
But when they get the tattoo with whatever the inside of the logo, for instance, like the Maryland flag or like a crab here, if for the Crabby Nation for Ironman Maryland, like that's just weird because if you got a tattoo there, you probably like they have tallies. I've seen people with like, I've done this Ironman and this Ironman and this Ironman. It's like, that's great. But if you've done more than one Ironman and you're still only just in front of me, that's bad. Like, that's like if you have a CrossFit Games tattoo, but you've only competed at the Open. Like,
Yeah.
that's dumb.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I
I
mean, but
don't think it's a fair comparison.
okay, maybe making regionals, but not getting to the games. Like I don't see any of the elite level Ironman athletes, and I follow a bunch of them on Instagram and YouTube because they have really like entertaining content for working out. I don't see any of them with Ironman tattoos.
Are you sure? They probably do somewhere.
No, like the no, I honestly like some of them have tattoos. Very few of them actually have tattoos, but there's something ugly about the Iron Man tattoo.
Yeah. I mean, I've just seen like plenty of people have them on their prototypical like Iron Man logo on their calf.
Yeah, or on their ankle. It's just weird. Like of all the tattoos that you could get and the money you could spend on tattoos, I would never get an Iron Man logo. That's just I it's like what Kenny Powers said to the principal in Eastbound and Down, like episode 1. I'm not trying to be the best at working out, because he plays real sports. Like
Hmm.
that's like somebody playing D3 college soccer and having a soccer ball on their calf.
I don't
Like,
know.
yeah, absolutely. You're in rarefied company. Not many people play NCAA sports. Only 98% of us go pro at something else. Okay, well then why the fuck did you get a tattoo saying you did it? Like, that's like having a Ranger tab tattooed on you.
What about like the Olympic athletes who get the Olympic rings tattooed on them? How
Oh
do you
my
feel about
God,
that?
yeah. If I was in the Olympics, I'd have the Olympic rings on my throat. Like, that's really cool. You are in super rarefied air. I mean, that's like I discovered Antarctic. Why can't I speak? I discovered a continent, a cold one, a lonely one. Like I discovered something phenomenal. I am the best in my country at this one thing. I mean, there must have been, I would say, like 10%. That's probably still speaking in extremes, but 10% of people have this Ironman tattoo that have repeatedly done Ironman triathlon.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's still like less than 0.1% of the people that have completed an Ironman, though.
Sure, but I would say less than 0.1% of bodybuilders have torn a phone book in half. So you're gonna get a phone book tattooed on you?
This is a terrible argument. This is like,
How many people have pulled over 500 pounds on deadlift? Should we get that tattooed on us?
I think a lot more people have pulled 500 pounds deadlift than have finished Ironman.
As a percentage of what? So if we have like
Percentage of everybody.
20 million lifters in the country, I would say that more or less we're at the same amount of those people percentage wise can lift 500 pounds as to triathletes and then the subset community of Ironman triathletes.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, then what would be another good, metric? Because if less than 1% of the Army is Ranger qualified, getting a Ranger tattoo is the same thing as getting an Ironman tattoo.
That'd probably be pretty accurate. That's probably a pretty fair comparison, and along the same idea in terms of an endurance event, very rare that people get to finish it, very rarefied air, so to speak. I think that'd be kind of on par, like getting a Ranger tab versus getting an Ironman tattoo.
Yeah, so I don't have a Ranger tab tattoo, nor will I ever. I also am never going to put that on my vehicle. It's the same way I won't put the Ironman logo on, definitely not on my car, and definitely not as a tattoo on my body. That's the other thing. On the front of my shin, I've got "There's no reason to be alive if you can't do deadlift." I have to get back to earning that tattoo. If I put an Ironman logo on the back of my calf, every single year I'm going to be reminded that I have to do this race in order to earn the tattoo. All my other tattoos I earn because they're part of like my story every single day. Like I find
Yeah,
something in my tattoo that motivates me. I'm
yeah,
not getting that
totally,
fucking tattoo.
totally.
Yeah,
The Viking thing totally is a
yeah. I've got Odin. He can only see out of one eye. When I'm outside and it's bright and I don't have a hat or sunglasses, I'm like, oh, one eye closed. There's my Odin thing for the day. Oh, I've got J.R.R. Tolkien's Misty Mountain on my forearm. That's real easy. I go, where do I wish I was today? Oh, the mountains. Done. I could do this with all my tattoos. George Washington crossing the Delaware. Badass American. Me, my life, my story. Need I say more?
Iron Man tattoo.
Never. Sucked at it. Not doing it.
But anyways, I don't know.
Last
I
thing
think
on the
it's a good I think it's a like a good accomplishment that if you wanted an Iron Man tattoo, I think it'd be an okay thing to get.
Yeah, Bobby thinks it would be an okay thing to get, but trust me, as the tattoo expert of our duo, even though Bobby's tatted out, that's a dumb tattoo. Don't get it. Cover it up. Make it something cool. Uh, what I was gonna say though is I've got two indoor trainers. One is mine. I'm not getting rid of it. So I really have one trainer that I'm going to be offloading here in the next couple months. Next time I get to my storage unit, it is a kinetic roller. It's a rock and roller. I guess that's the cool name, how they want to sell it. But it's a wheel-on trainer. I'm going to give it away to someone on the Cronus Fit Instagram family, Facebook family, one of the Cronus fam. If you are training up truly to do a triathlon, or you truly are going to do an Ironman and you've already started or you've templated to do it and you've got a bike and you need the components, hit us up, hit me up on my Sean at cronusfit.org or HQ or however you want to hit us up. We'll talk through it, and in like a couple months or a month, we'll ship that out to you for free for no cost on you. Won't cost you a dime. You can have this indoor trainer. It pairs with the Zwift app, I think. I'm sure it does. Yeah, it pairs with Zwift. So you can really train indoors during the winter. It's a great training thing to have. Pretty easy to set up. We'll talk through that. But again, if you're interested in it, hit me up. We'll talk through getting it out to you.
And then you'll autograph it as well.
Yeah, I'll autograph it and put a couple Ironman stickers in it for you with my autograph. Those can go on a vehicle because it's sexy.
Yeah, don't forget to autograph some headshots as well, or action
Oh,
shots from Iron Man.
speaking of autographs, we've got a Tata Motors truck somewhere in Afghanistan with our Cronus Fit sticker on it that some Johnny Taliban is driving around. So like, and it also has a West Point football sticker on it. So if you are a listener in Afghanistan and you're not being too oppressed to get out and find this truck, find it for us and let us know who's driving it. I'd like to know what level of Taliban soft got their hands on this really sexy truck.
But yeah, I did forget about that truck. That's interesting now that you mentioned that. I wonder like how much stuff is, branded in Afghanistan that's being used by Taliban at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like we don't support, condone, or sponsor the Taliban. So if you're in Afghanistan and you see someone driving that truck with our sticker on it, you have our permission to completely remove the sticker. Of course, do this during the cover of night. We don't want you to be apprehended because you're defacing a Taliban government vehicle. Although if you're in Kabul, chances are the Taliban are probably at the water park or at the zoo, because Taliban leadership is really pissed off right now. All of their guys in the city are not focusing on their jobs, which is weird. How would they know how to run a city? But they're too busy going on day trips because they've never been to Kabul. I can't believe that was a real story. Stop taking selfies, guys. We have a job here.
Yeah, they have the one I thought I originally thought that was like a prank, like a Photoshop of the guys at the water park with like their AKs on
Yeah,
like on the swan boats or whatever.
yeah. There's
Which
a
I thought
guy
was
with an
real.
RPG on a swan boat. Like, it's like there's a hostage photo from like somewhere on the coast of Africa where the hostage is sitting in the boat and there's a dude pointing an RPG into the bottom of the boat and someone's looking like, can someone tell him to point this somewhere else? This is really stupid. Like, can you imagine that? Imagine if they tried to replicate like a marine beach landing using those pedal boats. Like, that's going to be the next level of propaganda.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah. We took Kabul. Now we take the beaches. Quack, 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 quack.
The Taliban Marine. What else is going on?
I went upstate towards Poughkeepsie, spelled like dough with a P and then Keepsy. So it could be Poughkeepsie or Poughkeepsie. I'm not sure. I'm not from New York. Underwhelmed by that town, but I went walking around on the banks of the Hudson near where the Vanderbilt mansion is and Mills Mansion. What beautiful countryside that we have in the United States. Like upstate New York is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, you went to West Point, so sorry, you went to a gray prison, but the greens are just it's incredible, and that body of water is gorgeous. So I would say if you go to West Point, you didn't get to experience any of that. So that
First of
sucks.
all, Poughkeepsie is one train station away from West Point,
Okay, well you
and it's
didn't.
south of West Point. So
It
like,
is?
yeah,
No,
Poughkeepsie is
no,
south of West Point.
it's south of West. No, it can't
Yes, it
be.
is.
While you pull it up on the map, I'm going to keep talking
I'm
about
telling you. I'm
the
telling you. I've
magical
taken the
place that is
train.
Poughkeepsie. It's south?
I've taken the train from the West Point train stop down to New York City. Poughkeepsie is on the way to New York.
Okay, well, I'm going up The
That's
Hudson.
typically the stop that I wake up on when I come back from the city. Used to come back from the city at nighttime because you wake up at Poughkeepsie, so you don't sleep and miss your train stop, and then get stuck in like some random place, and and it also ironically called upstate New York because it's an hour north of New York City. Not even.
Oh, no, 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 my friend. Poughkeepsie is north. Yeah, Poughkeepsie north. I'm right.
How
You
much
wrong.
north? How much north?
Like 10 miles north.
Okay, so the next stop.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the next stop. It's the better part of the upstate New York that is not at that
It's
fancy boys
45
school
minutes
in the
north
Hudson.
of New York City. It's not north. Anyways, the
No,
Hudson
Poughkeepsie
Valley.
is like over an hour. It took me 2 hours to get to Poughkeepsie from Jersey. Uh,
Yeah, from Jersey.
yeah,
That's hardly upstate New York.
well,
Upstate would
it's
be like Albany. That's upstate New York.
well, I'm looking at my phone and I'm zooming out enough with the iPhone where I can see Poughkeepsie and Albany in the same image, but New York City is nowhere to be seen. So I would say from this vantage point, Poughkeepsie and Albany seem to be pretty close. You might as well be up in the Great Lake of Ontario next to Montreal and Vermont. Geography, I do good.
Anyways, the Hudson Valley is very nice. I do remember going back and visiting West Point, like after graduating from West Point. It's a really nice campus. Like totally take it for granted. Get it?
Did you just take it for granted?
Yeah, totally take it for granted being there. But it's like really nice like campus. It's very pretty. Definitely has an allure to it that you kind of don't really appreciate when you're there because you're just stuck in a shithole, kind of not having fun.
I tried
Um,
to go to West Point a couple months ago just to walk around, but the vid had it shut down to visitors.
oh,
Even War
dude,
Heroes, which I was shocked by. I mean, like,
you guys should go to like one of the home football games. They're actually pretty good this year.
I, dude, if I wanted to go see a team just run the ball, I'd go to a cross country meet.
I'm telling, it's a good experience. You should go. It's fun.
So I can. What's your whistling cheer called? The
The
the rah rah,
Rocket.
the rocket. That's what it is. The rah rah would be a much tougher name.
Yeah, there's the Rocket. I mean, I think it's kind of cool. You should definitely go to a West Point game while you're still able to, while you're still in the area. Because when you leave, you're never gonna go back.
I will. I'm going to be here for a while, so I will. I'll see a football game. I might go to an Army Navy game.
Go to Army Navy. It's in MetLife this year,
Yeah, I'll look at going to that. I don't know what you know when the game is. It's in December, right?
December 11th. I want to say
Okay. Yeah, I could probably get away with going to that. I
it's
don't
in
know.
It's literally in MetLife, so it's like right there for you, anyways. It's not even
Who
in
do you think
Philly.
who do you think like is going to win now? Because I felt like most people that were good at football, like not good enough obviously to go to like a real good Division 1 program, but wanted to serve, were fine with going to like Army or Navy. But it was one of those, do I want to go to war or do I want to go to Hawaii? And people went to Navy because of that choice. Now, with the wars being over, do you think Army's going to consistently have like a better recruiting class?
Dude, Army is like pretty good this year. I'm not like not just saying that, but they're pretty good this year. They have like a really good team. They're 3-0 right now.
I mean, but who have you played?
I can't
Uh,
remember, but they've played
Upper
like
Middlebury Community College.
all right, let me just Google West Point football.
The linemen that played Army are only like 220 pounds, right? 180,
No,
185.
they're like normal size now. They're like I think have loosened up. They're 4-0 right now.
It's pretty good.
They played
Hey,
Georgia State, Western Kentucky, Connecticut, and then Miami,
Southern Connecticut
Ohio.
or real Connecticut?
Western Kentucky. Oh, just Connecticut, like UConn.
Oh, so an actual state team, no longer like the we're separating our state
Yeah, they
to
played
give credence.
UConn, and they
Oh,
play Ball State next weekend, and they play Wisconsin in a couple weeks.
well, I don't know. I mean, I cheer for Army. I give Army a lot of shit. We've clearly got a lot of friends that were on the Army football team. I think of anyone, Army football probably has a better track record with getting guys to pass Ranger School, SF selection, going to Ranger Regiment, going combat arms than the rest of that school does. So,
Lacrosse, wrestling.
Yeah. Well, wrestling is in their own league. Any wrestling, like cadet or incoming soldier, is going to be just a hunk of meat, just incredible, physically gifted. But I would say, thinking back on it, and we've talked about it before on the podcast, most of the West Point football players that we know were all pretty damn good at armying, and definitely at being physically fit well after their Ranger School experience a year into their service, and not like just being aware of the tab.
Yeah, I think the whole like sports and that side and that like camaraderie from being on a sports team is directly transferable to military and leadership as things like that.
Oh, for sure.
Not like the fake Army or West Point leadership that I was battalion commander at West Point.
Oh, you were?
Definitely, yeah, totally
Oh,
transferred over.
oh well, yeah. I mean, you should be a battalion commander now. You'd be able to write a letter saying you're resigning because you're being forced to take a flu shot.
Ooh, but
You could get you could get a lot of follows for 10 minutes on LinkedIn.
but yeah, I would say like Army football pretty good this year. I'm really looking forward to Army Navy. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if I'll be able to watch it. I'm gonna be up at in Seattle on cardiothoracic rotation, so I'm not sure if I'll have time to see it. But
Damn,
you
dude.
should
Well,
definitely go.
I'll
You
watch it,
should go.
gang, in your honor. Navy's not doing well this year. They've
No,
already
they're
fired
terrible.
and
Yeah, they're
rehired their
farther.
coach.
Yeah, yeah. No, you should
Uh,
for sure go to Army Navy and MetLife.
okay,
That'd be a
yeah,
good
I
game.
will.
Good game.
I'll look at getting tickets. I mean, I'm right here,
You're
and
literally right there. It's
since
not.
I'm no longer in the army, I can really just go all in on the shit talking. I won't have to worry about not getting command. I don't need it. I
Oh,
don't have to worry about making field grade and then being a yes man for the next 10 years before I grow a conscience. I don't need it.
if you decide to go, I will inquire about tailgates, and then I'll let you know what tailgates to go to.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I can also ask my buddy who was a tanker. He's a Ranger Tab tanker, but I'm sure that tank community knows where all the best food is. So if anything, that's who I should be coordinating with, is the tankers and maybe field artillery. Yeah, they probably have some good food. Definitely
Yeah,
not the infantry. That's going to be like some keto, paleo bullshit. Here's some cooked kale crisp chips. Here's some nuts, and here's a couple of rocks to put in your pocket.
yeah. Because when I was in Jersey, we went to 3 of the 4 Army Navies when I was there. It's a lot of fun, man. Very
Yeah.
enjoy very enjoyable. I wonder if Biden will go.
I wonder if that chant will happen while he's there. That's happened
Oh
at
yeah,
like all the
college.
other Southern programs.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I would be interested. I'll look into it. If you're going to Army Navy this year and you know of a good tailgate, I'll inquire into tickets separately. But hit us up and let us know where to go. Let me know what to wear too. If I decide to go to this game, I want to look the part. So no, I'm not wearing, some, what are you guys, the Gray Knights? No, it's not the Gray Knights.
The Black Knights. I think it's Army at West Point now. I don't think it's called
Army
the
West
Black
Point.
Knights.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna buy any West Point stuff. So I'll wear gray or black or yellow, essentially looking like a Steelers fan. But yeah, okay. I'm thinking about this. You're talking me into this
It's a
live
lot
on
of
Broad.
fun. A lot of fun.
I've been to two. I went to one and I actually marched on the field. No big deal. As a senior, which I know is pretty cool.
Pretty
My
good.
my ROTC battalion sent a couple of us, and I'll never forget it because I was super cocky because I was branching infantry. The Whoever the person that was the lead, I don't know if it was a regimental commander or the battalion commander, but the dude was going MP. So zero respect right off the bat as Cadet Sean, zero respect as former Captain Sean too. But he came up to me and we had to wear the TP triangle hat thing
Hmm,
from
hmm.
World War II. And of course, I'm going to cock it somewhat to the side because it doesn't look good straight on top of your head. I've seen enough World War II movies to know what looks good. And I think my head style promotes a better look to the cocking side. Otherwise, I just look like one big nose. And he came up to me and was like, "You need to fix your hat." in a much less aggressive tone because, again, this person's probably 5'8" going MP. So, you get the picture of what they look like. And I said no. And then he tried to go get a junior to come tell me to fix my hat. And then I pulled cadet rank and I said, I'm a cadet battalion commander too. We are equals. I'm not listening to you, in a much less like formal way than that. I essentially just told him to eat it. And then we walked on and I was like, wow, this is really dumb. I can't believe I volunteered for this. Like standing out here, it's cold for hours. And then I went and I saw the game and I think that was the year that the running back fumbled on the 1 yard line. And
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I remember that year. I remember all the years.
of course you do. It's the only thing you can look forward to at West Point because otherwise you're sitting in a gray prison and
Yeah, I do
yeah.
remember that. That was Trent Steelman who fumbled it. I remember, and they picked it up and ran all the way back and scored a touchdown off that. I do remember that. I was there that year as well. Wow, I didn't even know that, Sean. We were
You
on the
didn't even
same
know.
place.
We would have been great friends though, just like we are now. We imagine
Same
if that
place.
friendship went back years. We would have crushed it.
Wow, that's funny. Yeah, that was a year. Anyways, it's fun. It's much more enjoyable when they win. It's fun. It's very enjoyable.
Yeah, if you lose, do you read Message to Garcia the entire trip back to West Point?
Dude, speaking of message to Garcia, funny story. Sorry, I'm digressing really fast from the football diatribe.
Our whole podcast is just a diatribe and a tangent, so let's go.
So I made my interns, all the interns read message to Garcia.
Oh no.
They, like how privates or like even just like junior officers, like second lieutenants, like don't really, I don't know, like just don't have, I guess the mental or the confidence to like, do things on their own, right? And have the
Yeah.
confidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, the same thing with like interns where, they don't know how to do stuff. But my thing is like a lot of the interns that in our class or in the year that we have, they don't their first instinct, a lot of them, is just to ask how to do it and don't try to figure it out.
Mm.
So I made them all read message to Garcia has not instilled into them anything.
Well, all right. So let's put on our West Point thinking caps. Do you have your bucket hat in the background you can throw on for this, and we can take it back to step one?
I have my bus driver hat, my FA bus driver hat.
Mm. Okay. Well, not being a West Pointer, I would say if Message to Garcia didn't get my answer, did you read anything by MacArthur or Clausewitz that would enable you to answer these burning questions?
No. I mean,
Okay.
the
What
crux of it.
about Art of War? Would Art of War have gotten you the answer?
No. I actually never read
Okay.
Art of War. I have it on the bookshelf, never read it.
Well, I mean that's very West Point officer of you anyway. Every single West Point officer's office I've ever been into has nothing but like 30 or 40 books. They all have the same ones though. It's Art of War, Message to Garcia, a couple books that some other lieutenant colonel that they were vying for a top slot from had. Robert Heinlein books. They'll always have Starship Troopers,
Oh, love Starship Troopers. One of
which
my
is a
favorite books.
phenomenal book. So I
One of my
won't I
favorite
won't
books.
I won't talk shit on that.
Don't slander.
That's a great book, but it's way too cool for a West Point lieutenant colonel that likes to wear his Stetson and his spurs on Thursdays or Fridays in formation. Like that, like you shouldn't be doing that.
Once an Eagle, don't forget Once an Eagle.
Oh, yeah. What was the other one? The Bear Went Over the Mountain.
Yeah, I guess some people do.
It's a
I
good
don't have
book,
that.
or it's a good movie too. And then there's another one from the 101st in Afghanistan. It's like how every single junior officer after like 0809 watched Restrepo like a million times over. It's the book about the 101st in Afghanistan that talked about a bunch of battles, I think at the same time period that everyone would read and say they knew somebody that was there.
You're talking about like Black Hearts is
Maybe, yeah.
one.
Is that it? Yeah.
Black Hearts is 82nd.
Oh, I'm so sorry then to the 101st. That was another, an airborne division. You're all the same. You all jump, right?
But
But I still got it.
I don't know. What were we talking about? Oh,
Football, Army football.
yeah, leadership. Yeah, I would say like it's very the interns are pretty interesting. It's like they're essentially like privates in the fact they're like like fresh second lieutenants in the fact that they're kind of smart and know a lot, but literally can't do anything on their own without like adult supervision. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that makes. I felt that way a little bit in like the first week or two of my internships that I've had, where it's like you generally know what the answer should be, but you're worried about making sure it's the right look. You know, if you have to write a
Yeah.
memorandum, it needs to look the right way. If you're, I guess now doing, is it clinicals would that be the right word? What these
Hmm.
guys do?
Yeah. Like
You know,
rotation
making sure you're
director.
filling out the forms the correct way, or you're going about your day. You do it once the right way, and it's beaten into your brain. But I prefer the good old fashioned, really just fall on your face hard and don't make that mistake again. But I guess that would be hard to do in a hospital because that would probably entail the patient dying.
No, I've definitely had my experiences where I have not done the right thing and they didn't necessarily give a bad outcome, but I've definitely gotten chewed out more than once for things that I've done as an intern, which I've learned fully from, and have since progressed from there. But so I'm in the kind of leadership, like, the camp of kind of like I guess like make sure they don't forget that they made a mistake type camp, leadership camp.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um
I've
the
been
tough
schooled in
leadership.
that camp as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't figured out a good way of like, mentoring the new interns quite yet.
I mean, I think you'll get there over time. If you watch Scrubs enough, you can get a good amount of how to mentor. Or if you watch Catch Me If You Can, starring uh,
Leo.
DiCaprio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Leo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. He plays a doctor a little bit in that, and he just says, "I concur." Do you concur? Do you say concur a lot?
No.
Oh, I guess that movie was fucking wrong.
But I will say that I have been operating a lot this year, which has been really nice. Well, not a lot,
That,
but like operating a decent amount. Having some big cases.
dude, that's so cool, man. That you're cutting people up and stitching them back together.
Yeah, I would say like it's looking back on this year and last year is a huge difference because like last year I didn't really know what I was doing in the OR and like the attending was kind of taking me through the cases. I guess they were taking me through it, like showing me what the next step, what
Yeah.
to do next. Now this year I actually feel like I'm actually doing the case and I actually know how to do the case now. Like I've done a bunch of taken a bunch of appendices out, appendixes or appendices. I don't know, taking some appendices out.
Appendixes.
So I feel like I'm pretty comfortable doing that case. And then like when I do it with the attending or the chief resident, it's like we're doing the case. Like I'm doing the case essentially. And then same thing with like gallbladders. Like it was really nice. I did at the beginning of the year, like a couple months ago, I had a really bad gallbladder that was like all like inflamed, and kind of like fucked up looking with chronic adhesions and stuff. It's a pretty tough gallbladder, but I had struggled really doing it. But then this past week, I did another really tough gallbladder, and not to like jerk myself off, but like kind of crushed it, and
Hell yeah.
did it a lot better than the first time. So it's like nice seeing the progression in skills and knowledge and like technical skills really from like beginning of the year, or even last year to beginning this year, and then now even a couple months later to now. It's a nice
Uh,
progression.
that's so cool, man. Like again, putting your like years of education to practice and people relying on your advice and how you're going to handle their medical emergencies. That's got to be one of those moments where you look back and go, like, I'm the man. Like, I am now the man. And if you were offended by the way Bobby described how well he took the gallbladder out, I just want you to know we are a sexually liberated podcast. And so we will use whatever description we want to describe exactly how stimulating surgery and or life can be.
But it's like kind of cool, like just like it's kind of cool seeing the progression of like as an intern, like not really knowing much, but now like a year later, I'm actually like have learned enough of the basic stuff to actually know and learn more about some of the nuances and like, some of the decision making aspects of like like playing chess, not checkers type aspect of things. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, one has different pieces.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. But
what
like understanding like strategy and like circle strategy and shit and stuff like that.
What would be your dream surgery if you had to do? Like, are we talking face off, where you're, taking one man's face to another and seeing if you can put him in prison to find out about an ensuing terrorist attack, or, you know, removing a big toe? What?
My favorite surgery, and this is kind of unusual, it is a robotic inguinal hernia repair. That is my favorite surgery to do.
A robotic ingrown hernia repair?
Inguinal hernia repair. Inguinal hernia,
Oh,
robotic.
inguinal is the stomach, right?
Your groin, your groin.
Oh, it's a groin. Oh, saucy, saucy. Bobby getting into the groin area with a robot arm. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's a sweet case. Pretty much it's a laparoscopic case, so that means you blow the belly up with air. Put three incisions, like about a centimeter long, in the abdominal wall. And you put in these trocars that you dock the robot to. The robot is the Da Vinci XI. It is a pretty sweet platform. It's pretty much like $1.2 million machine that allows you to do
That's dope.
surgery inside. It's not like use a robot to do surgery, but these long like instruments that are articulating, so they have like their own wrists, so you can like they're super like articulating. You do very complicated movements with them, and then you have a console, kind of like a laptop or a computer,
Yeah.
but it's got like it's got like a stereotactic imaging, so it's like a 3D image. So like with one eye sees something different, and the other eye sees something different, and your brain makes it a 3D. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, that so it's a little bit of virtual reality, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
controlling these articulated robot
yes,
claws.
yeah, yeah. And this is a sweet, cool case because like you can see it's like super high definition. And it's like 3D imaging, and then
Of
you can
someone's groin.
it from the inside.
Oh, so even okay, even more invasive.
Yeah, yeah, for the inside somebody's belly, and then doing all this stuff. But this is a sweet case. I've come to really like hernias are like one of my favorite things to fix right now. Like some of my favorite cases are hernia cases.
Yeah, so for lay people out there that are dumb like this guy right here, hernias are where your stomach like sticks out of the wall of the lining, or what is?
See, a hernia is basically any defect in your abdominal wall where things pop through, whether it's fat or intestines or what have you. It's just any
Ugh.
defect that pops through.
So like if someone was taking steroids and they had that steroid belly, like
That's
that
different.
gestation, would that be like a higher risk of having hernias? Do you think like the super pro bodybuilders would have a lot of inguinal hernias?
Maybe not pro bodybuilders, but there's definitely an association with like heavy lifting and hernias happening just from like the chronic lifting and then like heavy weights. But then also, I think it's also only if you're not training for it.
Yeah,
It's like normal people that they're like
peasants,
no, not peasants, but like like your
mortals.
blue collar guy that like works on like as a mechanic or something that okay, isn't very in good shape, but occasionally for work has to like lift like 100-pound engine or something like that with like
Yeah,
terrible
or
form.
a librarian that has to pick the new dictionaries up or new Britannica encyclopedias and
Sure.
put them in the office.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like someone that doesn't usually work out and isn't in good shape or strength, try to do
Yeah.
something like pretty heavy and then does it improperly, gives it like rips a hernia or some
So
shit.
90% of the country is what you're telling me has a risk
Yeah.
of getting a hernia.
Or a lot of people in the army too. It's pretty common in the army.
Yeah, well, that is definitely true. How is, speaking of health of the force, and we referenced it earlier, and I say we, the royal we, I. It seems like a bunch of O5s keep writing these very public letters about how they're getting out because they refuse to take COVID and they won't, make their body take a chemical that they don't know or fully understand. Um, is that being discussed by anyone? Like are any colonels coming out and saying, "Don't do this, idiots"? Like, why are you publicly making these statements?
I have not seen that on my side, but I'm sure in the force, there's probably a discussion in the force.
I just don't get it. Like, I get that you made field grade and you have an oak leaf on your collar, and immediately you know all about MDMP and making PowerPoints and what looks like aerial compared to Calibri on your laptop. but it's not hard to make lieutenant colonel, right? Like people understand that get there, like you don't have a DUI, congratulations, stay in long enough, you're going to make O5. Like, why do these people think they're so special? Like you are not a value added to the military. You leaving the military at 18 years, like zero value added.
Yeah, I think it's maybe I don't know. I think it's like people just have a a very individualistic approach or view of themselves. Like that classic bias that's like you're think that you're so much better than everybody else around you. I don't know. There's like a bias. There's like a name for it. Like there's like a name bias.
Well, let's not make it that generalistic because that's exactly how I feel on a daily basis. But
Yeah, a very high esteem of yourself.
an
It's
overly high
unfounded.
esteem of yourself, not grounded in any real facts. So like you aren't covered in cool tattoos, but you think you're cool.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a real bias. I forget what it's called though.
Yeah, what is it? Oh man, now I had it because I've had to remember these when I go into questioning like clients and stuff. Really paying this tuition's paying off real well.
Self-serving bias maybe.
Yeah, I mean that you can rename it. I think we could rename it whatever we want. I mean, people are coming up with a whole bunch of things. I'm pretty sure that a lot of these military folks are just hoping to be the first to do this, so they get their 30-second blurb on Fox News, between the hours of 8 and 10 p.m., and then hope that pays off with some government contracting job or working as a civilian in the G3, up at division. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. The amount of times that we've been jabbed with vaccines for shit that you're like 100% are not going to come into contact with this. And then this one that, I understand people are like, we need a booster shot. Well, how effective can the first two be if we needed a third? But at the same time, there is, I guess, a relative body of science. If you're going to go to the doctor to have a gallbladder removed and trust their expertise there, why are we pushing back so much on something that gives you the sniffles? And I'm downplaying COVID obviously because we're funny, but
Yeah, Christina has a good she has a good point about or like a good observation about this recent the Delta variant. She says that she's been in the hospital for all the entire time now for both all of COVID essentially. And the first wave, a lot of people that were dying were like old people that got COVID that didn't have any reserve and died from COVID. But now she says all the people that are hospitalized and dying are all like young 40s to 50-year old men who are
yeah,
unvaccinated who die from it. She said that in the last like week, she had like 3 or 4 patients that are like 40 years old die from COVID. They're like
yep.
otherwise relatively healthy young guys. They
It
got COVID and then died.
it's just frustrating that it's so politicized. I mean, I saw a funny meme, or it might have been like a small GIF where it shows the same kind of Trump supporters talking how great the vaccine development was under Operation Warp Speed, and like we need to take this. And then it showed at the same time a liberal male that was saying we need more time to develop this. I don't trust anything that the Trump administration would put out because it's for political points. And
Mm.
now those two bodies of populations have completely switched with President Biden being in office. And they're just repeating what the opposite side was saying. It's like I'm in this stupid loop, like wasn't it OODA loop? Like it just won't end. Like the arguments that some are making, to be free and in control of their body are the exact same arguments that the other side was making 6 months ago. Um, so it's pretty incredible to see how hypocritical people are, and also how completely dumb they are at recognizing their positions and how similar they were to a Republican or a Democrat when another person was in the White House.
Yeah, it's just like super like self-serving maybe, or just
Self-owning.
not self-aware, like unaware of kind of everything that's going on. A lot of people just like are just literally just regurgitating what Fox News or CNN or MSNBC tell them to think. So it's like a lot of people just lack the critical thinking and self-awareness to really make their own informed decisions.
Yeah, and that's just kind of indicative of our society in general. And we talk about this all the time between eating healthy and people making statements like, "Oh, if doctors are going to refuse to serve people like they're waiters, if doctors are going to stop caring for people with COVID because they didn't get the vaccine, then we should stop caring for people that are morbidly obese for not making healthy eating choices." It's
Mm.
like they're making really shitty logic, arguments that are comparing apples to oranges, but the fallacy, that reasoning fallacy, is just not apparent to them. And that's just frustrating though, because I'm sure the majority of people are in the same boat, but it's, again, the news loops that's not going to sell, and that's not going to get viewers to have someone just report on the moderate position. It's like we have to look at the extremes.
Mhm. And we've talked about this multiple times before with like the media and all that stuff. So I don't think it's worth diving into it again.
No, absolutely not. You can go back and listen to our podcasts or watch our YouTubes if you really want to know what we both look like. I, of course, am about 6'5", 235, bronze skin, great blonde hair. I've got about, I don't know, 24-inch arms,
My
30-inch
ass,
legs, very vascular. I've got an 8-pack, and
a beak.
well, yeah, you need it for getting all the oxygen to my body to sustain that look. And my chest is so big that when I flex each one of my pecs, they make a small thumping sound, to which I do the George of the Jungle theme, standing in line at grocery stores. And it's a real party
God,
pleaser.
dear Lord.
The Rock. I'm basically The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson Camperson. That's me.
Yeah, minus 100 pounds.
Okay, well, Bobby, like, he didn't do an Ironman,
You're
so
right. He didn't.
he didn't. So, I'm in rarefied air. Maybe I should get a tattoo just so when I get that big, people can't tell the difference. They're like, "Oh, that one's Sean. He has the tattoo. Okay, we're good."
That's good. That's a great. Like I said, way to loop back things around. Back to tattoo.
Yeah.
Speaking of tattoos, I gotta finish out my sleeve. But I gotta work
Just
on getting my
a couple
sleeve.
groin surgeries, man.
You know, I was kind of joking with Christina that I should go get an RN degree just so I can pick up some extra shifts because I don't know if you're aware of this, but the entire country is like very short on nursing and hospital staff. And
So why can't you do that as a doctor if you
I don't know. I actually have not looked into it, but I would not mind like on weekends like this where I'm not working, picking up a 12-hour shift and making like $500 in 12-hour shift. Um, the point is like around here, a lot of hospitals around here are offering like $20,000 sign-on bonuses for new nurses. In addition to, there are other like hospitals that are offering like $160 an hour
damn.
because they're so short on nurses. So it's like, you know, I think like across the country there is a huge deficit in nursing and ancillary staff, and I'm very interested to see in the next couple of years what happens with that.
Well, I've got the fix right there. That's not good marketing. If you want good marketing to get nursing staff and even some doctors, just allow them to do TikToks with the patients.
Oh yeah, great marketing. But I don't know. It's very interesting because like it is kind of ridiculous how much money Christina gets. She'll pick up extra time overtime and get double pay or time and a half or double pay for picking up extra shift. And we've been like doing that a lot recently. Um,
Well, to talk about kind of the financing there, like, we've talked about, if you're going to get a degree, like, get one that pays. Like, if you're going to incur debt to go to college, even if you have the sweet Cronus Fit scholarship, money, get one that, like, don't go get a degree in puppeteering, or don't get a degree in Egyptology where you then have to get a master's and a doctorate so that you can teach Egyptology.
that's a meme. You just
That's
stole a
not,
meme.
I
You just
just
stole a
did.
meme. You just stole a meme.
But what I'm saying is that's a pyramid scheme. What I'm saying is, like, if you're going to go to college, get a degree that is going to be worthwhile. Like, don't go, if you get a general studies degree, cool. Good luck finding a job, but look at the industries out there. Dr. Bobby just gave you one. Like, nursing is hurting. Go get your nursing degree. I'm sure even within the doctor community, there are specialities that are hurting for people. Um, After we make it big, rhinoplasty will be completely out of business because this will be the Roman nose is making a comeback. But like, do your research. Don't go to college and completely fuck off and not have a plan for when you graduate. Like day one, you step in, you have to have a general idea of where you're going to go.
Yeah, I would say like there's been like a huge push for like kind of the softer non-science degrees, but sciences degrees always, generally speaking, will always be transferable. Whether it's computer science or engineering, those are always jobs that will always stay there or always available.
Yeah.
Um, I did see that that the it's kind of interesting. I saw I think the Wall Street Journal had a report that said that men are there are fewer and fewer men entering college. I think I saw something like 59% of women versus 41% of men, or the incoming freshman class, like 59% women, 41% men, whereas traditionally it's always been the other way. And it's kind of become the same thing with medicine too. Like a lot more men or women are joining medicine now compared with men.
I think I saw that too. Like same in law school, there's fewer men that are enrolling. It's more women. Uh, so I'll be interested to see what the workforce looks like going forward. I know between that and like the shifting demographic of like the business professional,
Hmm.
we've also seen like a downtick in birth rates, and people are getting older when they have kids now. And like not maybe our generation, but I'm sure the next, like by 2050, 2075, I think we're going to see like a really big um, legislation initiative come through to make sure that people are given the opportunities, and not just through, oh no, we take care of our pregnant workforce. It's like, no, like legitimately you're not risking anything by deciding to start a family. Because I think even still now, like my sister's awesome, but I think she would lose out, like honestly, if she were to go and try to have kids right now with her job. The amount of hours that she's working, the projects that she's on, like she would fall behind somebody.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. But I think they're trying to do that in terms of getting the legislation like that in place now.
Well, the problem is they put that kind of stuff in omnibus legislation, and I'm sure it's probably part of this $3.5 trillion infrastructure plan with the social infrastructure, but without dedicating an actual bill to identify just a one issue piece of legislation, we're going to be missing out, because otherwise these kind of programs get scrapped or whittled down to
Mm,
nothingness so that the two sides can agree on a much larger comprehensive bill. It's crap writing. It's the reason why people are going to go to courts in years to come. It's the reason why the Affordable Care Act is pretty poorly written, because it's so big.
I see. I see. Interesting. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Um, what else do you want to talk about?
Uh, that's kind of, I think that's like a good segue. We talked about Ironman and tattoos. That tattoo one was my big focus.
Yeah, I got to work on my tattoo. I'm on nights next month, so I'm hoping that I have some extra time next month to actually do some like life stuff.
Oh, I do want to give a shout out to our buddy Nick and his new fiance Chelsea. She is new. She's out of the box. He just got her, picked her up brand new. But they've been dating for a while now. They listen to the podcast all the time. They just got engaged. So congratulations to those two living down in Florida, um, and enjoying the sunshine.
Yeah, winter is rapidly coming in the Northwest.
I can't wait, man. I got my sweaters all lined up. Sweater season.
Yeah, I can't wait to go do an outdoor sports. Christina wants to
Flannels.
do. She wants to. Have you ever heard of hot camping or hot tent camping?
No.
So I've never heard of either, but apparently she watches all these YouTube accounts and all this other stuff. She's super into that. Basically, it's like a tent that you get, and inside the tent, it's got like a flue. So you have like a wood burning
Oh,
stove.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen
kind of
those.
like a
Yeah, those.
yurt.
Yeah, those look really cool. I would absolutely be down to do that.
Yeah. So she wants to get one of those. And then I'm really big into snowshoeing. I never thought I would ever say that before in my life. Like I always thought it was kind of like dumb to go snowshoeing.
You're from Delaware, so there's a reason that
Yeah,
you're fine to
but
say that.
anyways, snowshoeing is freaking awesome. It is so much fun to go
Yeah.
snowshoeing.
Yeah, I did
It's fucking
snowshoeing
sweet.
in Estes Park last year, 2 years ago. It was a blast.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I went snowshoeing a couple times last year, and it is so much fun because it's like you like go hiking, you're kind of stuck on the trails.
Yeah.
You're kind of like that's all you get. Well, like snowshoeing, you can walk anywhere with snow. You can walk anywhere.
Yeah, well, it's like in Lord of the Rings, Legolas is walking on top of the snow when Saruman closes the way and they have to go through the mines of Moria. You're like Legolas. You're right on that level on top.
Right, right, right. But it's super fun and like it's super enjoyable because it's snowy out and so it's nice and quiet and you're just walking in the snow and it's like you can tell it's like not no one's ever been there before. It's like pristine snow.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's so much fun. Highly recommended if anyone for this winter time to get into snowshoeing.
Yeah, oh yeah. If you get into snowshoeing, if you live in an area, and if you don't live in an area, PCS immediately.
Shout out to Carson or for Lewis. I went to Epic
Uh,
last year too.
yeah, Fort Carson, Fort Lewis. Drum has a ton of snowshoeing.
Drum does too, yeah.
Um, where doesn't have snowshoeing? Oh yeah, any
Right.
base in the South.
Yeah.
So another
Bragg.
reason why Fort Hood's not good.
Yeah.
I, you know what? Last thing I want to close on is when the fuck are we going to change those post names? I am,
Oh, it's a matter of time at this point.
God damn, why are we memorializing one, Confederates, two, dead Confederates, and three, losers and just terrible people? I don't like every single one of those. We have so many great like Americans that weren't traitors, like that we could name places after, and people are still being assigned to Fort Hood, I think Fort Benning, Fort Stewart, Fort
Mm.
Lee. Uh,
It's a matter of time, I think.
yeah, it needs to be much quicker than this.
Yeah. All right, let's start wrapping it. I've got to go take a dump and then go to Costco.
Yeah, I've got to go read. Nerd.
Yeah.
All right, well, week 19 will be on Siege of Terra this week. We got a week and a half left, and then we're going to get into a much higher intensity kind of cardio anaerobic programming. And I'm still coming up with a name for that, but it will also be Lord of the Rings and or Warhammer inspired, so be prepared.
I Is there any Warhammer books that I can read to start learning about some of the lore of Warhammer?
Oh my God, is there? Yes, of course. I'm so glad you asked. I will send you a definitive list. I think you should start with the Horus Heresy. It's 5 or 6 books that you can really get into that will just be phenomenal. Oh my God, Bobby, you just made my day. You made my
Yeah,
day. This is
I
awesome.
forgot to ask because we went down to Portland like last month at the bookshop, the Palace Bookstore. That's what we're talking about. They have a great selection of like used books and stuff. So I was like,
You
where
know
do I?
what? Scratch that. I've got the box of polos that I still haven't sent your way. I will throw those books in there and send them so that you don't have to go searching for them. I'll give you my personal set. And then you can pass those on to your kids one day. Oh my God, this is great. This is awesome. Bobby's getting into Warhammer.
Just want to understand the references because I didn't realize how many people were into Warhammer until you started doing the Q&As and people start asking about all these random, what I assume cute like Warhammer
You better watch your
stuff.
tone.
Yeah,
Pretty awesome, pointed questions,
yeah.
not random at all.
I have no frame of reference for Warhammer. I just remember as a kid, people would buy the sets and would
They
have
still
their own
do.
sets. Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy Alex still buys them. He's the tab tanker that's down in DC right now. So I need to get my army. I recently dug up in my parents' basement, and it needs to be reworked. I need to redo my point allocation. There's some new weaponry that has come out, and I think I'm going to switch my chapter from Dark Angels probably to Blood Angels, if you understand. You will understand though. This is gonna be so great. We're gonna have so many hours of podcast about Warhammer, and there's great YouTube out there for Warhammer. Bobby, wow, Christmas came early.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right. With that, we will catch you guys next time. I will be on nights next month. So I think if we do it on Sunday, early or Sunday or something, maybe Saturdays,
I
maybe
don't have
adjust our
class on Thursday or
schedule.
Fridays, so if Thursday or Fridays also
Oh,
work.
maybe Friday day we can start doing that 'cause I'm
Yeah,
off. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that'd be
Okay,
great.
we'll figure something out. Some more reliable now that
All right, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm now moving to the realm of the night realm, the night shift realm.
Yeah, so if you're going to get injured or need surgery, get injured in the late afternoon, early evening to see Bobby in the hospital.
Give me something to do. I'll take your gallbladder for free.
Yeah, or an inguinal hernia. Lift something without preparing.
Those are elective cases. You don't really do emergency surgery for that,
Make it
unfortunately.
emergencies.
I love the robot. All right. Until next time, guys.
All right, peace.
Peace.